Hi everyone, this is the 146th video of the ACT Math Practice Problem Series, and here we have an interesting problem from the concept of equation of straight lines and set of linear equations. As I always recommend, before seeing the solution you can pause the video and give it a try yourself, and after that of course you want to match with my solution. So let's get started. Here the question says, if two coincident lines are represented by the equations 5 times x plus b times y equals 10 and x plus 3 times y equals 2, then b is equal to which of the following 5 options, right? Now, one most important information in this question is that these two lines are coincident lines. So you have to understand what do we mean by coincident lines. Even though the look and feel of the equation might be slightly different, but ultimately both straight lines, when plotted on the graph, they will be coincident. That means they will lie on top of each other. That means they are essentially the same straight lines. Now, if both of these equations have to represent the same straight line, then what can we do? Well, somehow we can bring the coefficient of one of the terms, either the x term or the y term, to 1. So let's make the coefficient equal, and for that what I'm going to do, let's divide the first equation, both sides of the first equation by 5. So if we divide by 5, then what happens? Well, the first equation is like this, and if we divide both sides of this equation, then the x term will become just x, meaning the coefficient of x will become 1. And in the second equation, you can already see that the coefficient is already 1 in the second equation. So I'm trying to convert the first equation into a form where the coefficient of the x term would be 1. So now let's divide both sides by 5. So dividing both sides by 5, what do we get? Well, from here we can say then each term will be divided by 5. So 5 times x over 5 plus b times y over 5 is equal to 10 over 5. And from here you can clearly see that the first term would be x and the second term would be b over 5 times y is equal to 2. And what is the second equation? Well, the second equation is kind of like this. It's x plus 3 times y is equal to 2. Now you see, if both of these equations represent the same straight line, like two coincident straight lines, right? We can consider them as same straight line. Then you see the coefficient of x is looking good. The right hand side is looking good. So the coefficient of y also must be equal. And now if we compare the coefficient of y in both of these equations, then you can clearly see that we can say from here, definitely b over 5 must be equal to 3. This b over 5 right here, that's the coefficient of the y term in the first equation, and then coefficient of the y term in the second equation, they must be equal. And from here, we can easily say that b must be equal to 15. Now, if you think of it in a different angle, say suppose, so our first equation is 5 times x plus b times y is equal to 10. And from here, let's transform this into y equals mx plus c form, right? So from here, we can say, okay, then b times y is equal to negative 5x plus 10. And from here, if we say, well, then what is y? Y is equal to negative 5 over b. We divide both sides by b. So negative 5 over b times x plus 10 over b. That is the y equals mx plus c form. And now let's look at the second equation. And the second equation was x plus 3 times y is equal to 2. And from here, can we write it like this? Then 3 times y is equal to negative x plus 2. And from here, if we divide both sides by 3, then we get y equals negative 1/3 times x plus 2 over 3. Now, if both of these equations represent two coincident lines, then guess what? Two things have to be equal. Their slopes have to be equal and the y-intercept also has to be equal. So now what is the slope here? Well, here we have a slope. If you see, this is the slope indicated in the first equation, negative 5 over b. And in the second equation, again, the slope is negative 1/3. So the slope has to be equal between the two lines, then only they could be coincident. So from here, we can say, well, if the slopes have to be equal, then obviously negative 5 over b, that has to be equal to negative 1/3. And then if we simplify this, then we are going to get, if we multiply both sides by a negative 1, and then we do cross multiplication, that would be b equals 3 times 5, that is 15. So from here also we get b equals 15. And also we can derive this by using the y-intercept. If you look at the y-intercept, they also have to be equal if the two straight lines are coincident lines. So if we compare the y-intercepts, then what do we get? Well, we have 10 over b is equal to 2 over 3. And here again, if we simplify it, we will get b equals 10 times 3 over 2, and that is equal to 30 over 2, that is 15. So here also we get B equals 15, and actually that is our answer. And if you look at our answer options, we have 15 under option J. So option J is the correct option. I hope everything made sense. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.